And here we are, loading out of Belle Isle Municipal, headed to London, Ontario. Always leaving that parking brake on. It's an amazing problem I don't have with cars, but I have with planes. So, only time for a short little jaunt today. Did not leave myself enough time with all the other stuff I had to do. But still want to make headway on where we're going. Which is right back to Pittsburgh. Via the rest of the world. That said, being a short little hop into Canada just to, you know, baby steps, keep it on going. Didn't really prepare that much to talk about. Looking at the area after Windsor. Agland. We're going to be flying over a lot of agland on our way over to Niagara Falls. Not that agland's a bad thing, I just think that we're probably doing a little too much, going a little too hard, a little too early when it comes to that. But who knows? Let's see what we see. I got it level with you. I believe in the Ice Age concept. Looking at the land in Canada and the, I'm going to say the word again, the topography, I find it hard to have an argument that an ice sheet of some size did not go sliding across the landscape of the area. I only say that because I've met many people who do not agree with that, but I don't know, maybe we could find something that looks like it. Let's take a look outside, see how we look at 3,500 feet. Why it's not giving me back controls? There we are. It's Canada, not Detroit. For whatever reason, they didn't build the same amount of stuff that the American side did. For better or for worse. I used to watch a lot of Kids in the Hall back in the day. It was one of my favorite shows, and I forgot where I was going with that. Like I said, did not prepare. Here to fly, here to check it out. Look at that. On autopilot, not even touching the trim, and it's still gliding pretty well. Almost like someone left the flaps down. Would you look at that? Jackass. Let's turn the autopilot on here. Let's level off 5,000 feet. Our flight time to London, Ontario appears to be another 40 minutes. We'll see how true that is. See if we can't get on the ground quicker. I want that 20 feet back. And it looks like our track is 0.65 with a small tailwind. Remember, kids, always leave yourself enough space to rag that knob over. Or use the mouse wheel. I don't want to say mouse wheels are new technology for me, but there was a before time, man. There was a before time with single clicks, and then double clicks were new. Oh, all the mice had these crazy little felt balls in them that would pick up all the hair or lint from your computer and just slurp it right up in there, and you'd be trying to mouse around in like your favorite game or Windows. And it would get hung up and stop, so it wouldn't like curve around in a smooth arcs. It would stop and take straight lines, either up, down, or diagonally. It was a hell of a time, dude. We had to install the drivers. They came on 3.5-inch floppy disks, or what, 5.25 before that, and I forget what the standard size was before that. I'd be flexing it being old, but I'm not that old. So how about that dash? It's a pretty dash, isn't it? Again, with the absurd flatness. It's very, very flat. I'm surprised that... I'm actually surprised with all the... San Francisco's a tourist hub. Like, you see people from all over the world and the country there. I'm really amazed that people from other states and cities are, oh my gosh, it's so hilly. There's so many different elevation changes. Because the whole way driving across the country, as soon as we got out of New Mexico, I was like, why is it all so flat? And then you get to the Mississippi River Valley, and it's just undulating hills. Again, not flat, but for the sake of argument, I'm calling it flat. Sorry, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Eastern South Carolina. You get what I'm saying. You see them too, don't you? You probably saw them earlier than I did, but yep, racetracks. I want to say dirt tracks, but I can't tell from this height. I'm gonna have to bust out the secondary GPS here and find out what exactly that is. Eek, provided I could find myself with all these lakes and bodies of water, and still lost. See, that doesn't look like Rice Lake. That looks more like Lake Simcoe. Simcoe? Alas, there are no oval tracks things near here. Oh my gosh, this is... No, I'm not heading that far north. I'm not headed out of Detroit. And I'm not lost and on the Great Lakes. Got limitless technology access, and I am lost in Canada. I've been here for like 10 minutes. There we go. That's Lake St. Clair. Shame on me. Which means we are at Bell River or west of it. Wager we're north and or east of it now. And neither of those are labeled as anything. I will say one of them is on a Puce Road, though. Actually, that might just be Puce. I'm not sure how you spell Puce. I think it's P-E-U-C-E, which means that's incorrect. Wind turbines, not many, some. I tell you, those things, no matter how you see them, they're always deceptively small. Like, when I look at them and I'm driving by them, you gotta be close up to be like, oh yeah, each one of those blades needs its own semi-truck to, you know, carry it around. Size specific, they do come in different sizes, but the larger ones, since you see them from a distance, you don't really know how big they are. Like, it's not until you're up close to them do you truly get that that is an enormous propeller spinning very fast. Little sip of water here. We're coming up on Mitchell's Bay. To the left is Walpole Island, and sorry for the whistle. A lot of islands. Anchor Bay as well. I'm not sure if that's where the genes come from. We'll have to look that up. I want to cut into the United States over Vermont, so I used to work in ice cream for a long time, and fly over Ben and Jerry's, talk some smack. Then fly through Boston, be a little more observant to the cities on the East Coast that I may miss, because we're going to come back around and be landing in Pittsburgh. God, it's going to take me... I either need to start taking longer flights or start taking shorter flights more often, because if I'm going to hit the... what is the name of this crater in Canada that I want to go look at? Manacalgan... I hope I pronounced that right. Manacalgan Reservoir? What do they call it? Ile René Lavasseur. I don't speak French. Hey, look, I don't speak French or whatever, okay? Speak passable Spanish, some Japanese, a little bit of DOS 6.2, and very fluent in gibberish and rambling dadisms. You know what I'm hoping for flying through Canada is, I always see there's so, I'm going to say the word again, such an abundance of small lakes and on presumably like ice and snowmelt driven depressions in the land that occasionally assemble themselves in parallel-ish lines, which is interesting because it supports that whole like things were getting pushed theory, you know, pushing that earth. What? Out here, you see weather like that out in. It's super apparent if you look at a map from like, say, northeastern Pennsylvania, about the Scranton area, and track along southwest to a fairly decent portion of the Appalachian Range, and it's not like it pushed up, I'm not saying it pushed up the mountain range. Continental plate over there is moving, I think, west and north anyways. But, definitely pushed dirt and deposits that way, so it'd be a fascinating thing to see closer up and from the air. It's something that, you know, satellites are good. Being able to pan around and look at it from, like, you know, half a mile distant would be just nifty. And of course that means I'm immediately looking at like the western United States to see if there's any kind of like appearance of depositing soil in the foothills of the Sierra Nevadas, which are acknowledged like what do they call it? A subversion point, where one continental plate goes under the other. At least I think it is. That's such old information. Plus, the science on it may have changed, so double check everything I say, especially if it seems interesting. Actually, even if it seems not interesting, just for the hell of it. I'm not sure if that's a game or it really looks like somebody went like and rallied a combine through this whole farm. Huh. That's interesting. I'm curious now to see if it's the game or because there's other tracks like that elsewhere in these other fields. As well as a failed to load 2D wind turbine. Actually, I mean, they could be stationary. If there's a 2-knot wind at 5,000 feet and wind gets slower as it gets to the wind gets slower close to the surface because of friction, pretty sure that science hasn't changed. It would be a pretty stale day out there. Take a look around again. Very organized, these Canadians. It's a lot of right angles. Again, that has to lend to the place being super flat. Or really anally tentatively planned, I suppose. Well, let's see how the quality of this turns out. I turned the encoder down and it's holding stable. Woohoo! Dresden. I don't know if it's a great idea to count redundant names while we're out here. Oh, someone's got another... well, fake Indianapolis. I'm talking about the raceway, of course. It's so flat, and the patchwork goes on in straight lines for as far as you can see. This is like driving through like Southern California on the east side. It's just really straight in these desert valleys. And you wind up not being able to see anything until like all of a sudden the hill you're driving towards is on you. Well, this is looking to be... let's take a look inside, see how close we are. We're about 15 minutes out. This is a fairly uneventful flight. This is a martial arts. This is a taekwondo sparring match where nothing but roundhouse kicks get thrown. I suppose it could be kickboxing too. Or MMA, when they start the match and the guy immediately goes into a ground guard. Or what is it, ground open? Florence! The Toy Doll song. Florence is deaf. The lead singer's voice is super obnoxious, and unless you're a fan of crazy UK punk, probably won't like it. Still, we're checking it out. It's kind of a... Their lead singer is an incredible guitarist. His name... I don't even know any... I barely know the band names of... the member names of any of the bands that I love. Olga from the Toy Dolls. They're known for doing a cover of Nelly the Elephant, but they've also done, like, The Final Countdown with kazoos. Livin' La Vida Loca with kazoos. There's a live clip of them playing the dueling banjos thing live at a concert in Japan. And then they're also real big for doing toccata in D minor. Only, of course, super high energy, of course. Click off here for a sec. I'm back. I just don't have the cough button set up. I don't know if it's overly consistent or I'm just randomly fixating on it, but it seems that, yeah, like the composition of this whole stretch seems very similar. Ooh, ah! Okay, it wants me to face that way. Like they're all growing the same stuff at the same time, the same way. Then this neighborhood quite possibly could be that of a different product. What are the odds? There's so many farms. It's like driving through Gilroy, but it never ends. You'll see. We'll fly over it. How well maintained do you reckon those roads are? Do you think you can get up really fast on them? It occurs to me, like, driving past all the same kind of looking farms, like, you'd have to really, really know where you were at all the time in order for stuff to not seem like to take forever because the scenery doesn't change and you have no real indicator for making progress. See what town that is. That is white dot in the middle of Canada. No, well, this is like urban Canada. Not to talk trash. Like per capita, it gets really, really, really rural. So technically, by comparison, the superposition of states, this can be regarded as urban or suburban. Pretty sure it went down to be like, shut the hell up, it's agricultural land. It's farms. More specifically, it's Newbury. Alright, hockey teams in Ontario. We got the Ottawa Senators, we got the Toronto Maple Leafs. Nothing about London, nothing about that. Sudbury, I don't think there's a team that's NHL. That's it for major names. Other than that, I think next place you're going to get to west as a team is Calgary. However, a short jaunt to the east after Ottawa in, you ever watched Letterkenny and heard all the ways you can spell, or you can pronounce Quebec? Yeah, the Canadians, the Habs. You go flying past that neighborhood. That's a really peculiar texture. I wonder if is that the game, or does it really look like that? Oops. I typed in Sudbury, not Newbury. That's on me. Yeah, it's... I don't know. It's kind of strange. It isn't necessarily clouds, or shadows, but it kind of appears to have that look to it here and there. Also, Google Earth is picking up clouds now. Or sorry, Apple Maps. That's a trip. I think that's something. It looks like the upside down is poking through. That has to be the game. Unless it's like really wet and the game's loading like heavy moisture from storms passing through, and that's inundation. I think I set myself up to land into the sun. Whoopsie doodles. That's really interesting. Aha! I found a topographical map. It's a fairly even gradient up to, like, I mean, nothing's higher than 1,500 feet. But at the same time, there's lots of changes, like intermediate changes between 196 and call it like 339 by this map, so there's a lot of 600 to 900 foot elevation changes, like 300 foot differences. So these could be like little shadows that are picking up water and stuff like that, assuming the game's not messing with my head. Also, we should be landing here soon, I believe. Oh, look at that. Dead ahead. Ew, I don't know my runway choices. I think this time I'm actually going to fly over and, like, look. Let's try and see through the crazy bright runway shading. Find the right number. Pop inside here. So we're landing at CYXU. We're landing at London. And there it is. Gotta pick a runway still. Ah! There we go. Let's see, 2 runways directly, not totally parallel. What the hell are you looking that way for, dude? I don't see a runway over there. Anyways, I'm assuming it's this place dead ahead. I'm gonna hope it is too, because that's where I'm landing. Modern subdivision. Man, it's again tightly packed. They got golf. I believe this is London, Ontario. What are the enormous converging lines? Is it the Illuminati? It's probably a railway. So this is when I fly over and find out it's not a railway at all. Oh, nope, it's a railway. Oh, and there's where it continues on up through town. Yep, that is where we're going. I reckon I could probably check out my button, my control scheme here better. There's so many buttons. There's just so many buttons. See which one locks my view to targets. That'd be helpful. Gonna pop inside, check the wind. 2 knots the tail. Oh no! I think the flight into Niagara Falls, this is gonna be another 30 minute hop. Might be done in the dark. Just cause. It's a lot of farmland. I've checked the satellite images. There's not tremendously noteworthy things that can be seen from the sky on the way across it. Not to say there weren't great things that happen in this area. Steps to see from the plane, I am few and far between on options, so... Woo, night flights. Get it done. That way we can at least play with live weather, you know? I'm pretty sure that my constant 2-knot tailwind as a result of that. Even though I'd love if I could, like, just play the live weather from earlier in the day. I was under the impression I was doing that. What is that, 09? Runway 09. I'm going to land the opposite direction. And I have nothing. That's 33, which means this one's 9 or 15. That's 27. Okay, fine.
London traffic Slinger, tree Alpha 7 Mike tree, 1 miles northwest, 5,000 feet inbound to land runway 27.
Let the plane take us down, chicka pal. I have no idea if I'm upwind. I'm pretty sure I'm upwind of them right now. No, I'm downwind. Anyways, I'm going to be turning around and landing into the wind, so... Either way, I'm going to be on final. Let's drop out of this autopilot anyways. It was a pleasure looking at all of the... Man, that's a lot of farms, right? Who knew that it would take so much agriculture to support the world? And relative communities. Nah, that was a smart ass thing to say. It's really it's something to ponder exactly how much space gets used for all that. Come on, admit it. You get stuck in your own local relative area, and it becomes difficult to consider other stuff like that. It just happens.
London traffic Slinger tree Alpha 7 Mike tree is on final runway 27 to land.
I tell you, there was a time in my life when I did not have the luxury to screw around and pretend that I was flying around the Earth in a diamond aircraft DA-62. Oh, that just looks dope. It's cool to have the ability to do it. Even there was a time there when I was a WoW raider briefly. I don't think I'm ever gonna go back to that kind of grinding and slogging, but something like this, flight simulators and all this kind of stuff was super. It was important to my dad. It was a big interest of his when I was coming up, and he wanted throttle up. He wanted to share it with me a lot, and we didn't get that opportunity. So throughout my life, I've found numerous ways to replace those experiences working on cars, building home stuff, you know. But MS flight, man. When we get back on the West Coast, there was a flight that he took that he was going to let me land when I was like 9 years old, shortly before he passed away, and I don't know how he kept a straight face, dude. He handed over the controls to me, and I immediately plunked that thing into the ground, and it wasn't something that like I was tortured my whole life for, but it was one of those things that when I saw Flight 2020 come out and how nice it looked, figured I was graduating high school. I'd already done a bunch of other things. It was time for another adventure, so at least for a while here, we're gonna fly around and appreciate it, even if it's just straight. Okay, let's cut the. I'm pretty sure those were pylons. I thought they were deer. I probably did something very wrong. Anyways, what a way to end it. Hey, if you made it this far, thanks for checking it out. Stay tuned for the next one. We are going to make our way to Niagara Falls. We are going to go some direction aggregately east after that. And, yeah, fly all the way around the world to the east and come back and land in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Woohoo! I'm thrilled to be doing it. I think it's super fun. You had a kick out of this. Anyways, catch you for the next one. Nah, let's actually shut it down here in front of everyone. Let's not drive into the fuel truck, though. Don't need to accidentally end my trip early. Well, after arrival. If I don't get credit for the landing, I'm not going to count it. Imagine, I know I could land in Letka. I've done it, but I'm definitely, you know what? Let's just roll up in this dude's car. I want to know where they found, like... don't back into me! Oh, Thanks for the realism, homie. Dude, where did they find a Chrysler, like, country van, dude. Maybe it's a Daihatsu. It's generic is what it is. Anyways, we're ending this. I'll catch you guys on the next one. You have a good day, evening. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Bunk. Bunk. Alright, we are out of here. Later.